March 11th, the delegation of the European Union in Baku held a presentation of 15 civil society projects, the implementation of which started this year with financial support from the European Union. The projects are implemented within the framework of two programs, non-state actors in the development and the European Instrument for Democracy and Human Rights. According to the representative of the European Union Mission Maryam Hajiismayilova, in the frame of the European Democracy and Human Rights Instrument, European Union has allocated 2.2 million manat to support 8 projects on raising public awareness, protecting property rights, ensuring women's rights and monitoring of elections. Since 2007, European Union has financed 60 projects of civil societies costing a total of more than 12 million. Applications for participation in the projects are accepted through the official website of the European Union. On March 11, Shaki Court on Grave Crimes held a hearing in the case of people accused in relation to Ismayilli incidents. The defendants made their closing speech. Accused Rashid Mammadli, Ceyhun Abbasov, Sahavet Samadov, Elchin Ismailov, Hayal Sharanov, Vasif Ibrahimov, Shakir Mustafayev, and second group disabled Sahavet Samadov making closing arguments, rejected charges filed against them and asked the court to make a fair judgment and acquit them. Real Movement leader Ilgar Mammadov noted that violation of human rights in Azerbaijan still continues and he was arrested in order to prevent him from participating in elections. Mammadov said it is the reaction of the international community which is important for him, not the decision of the court, because they have an objective picture of his case thanks to participation of the representatives of the United States, embassies of the European Union countries and European Union mission in his trial. Advisor to the Musavat Party chairman and Yeni Musavat newspaper columnist Tawfiq Yagublu rebutted the charge of organizing riot in Ismayilli, saying that it was a popular protest against arbitrariness of state officials. Note that Ilgar Mammadov and Tawfiq Yagublu were arrested 10 days after their visit to Ismayilli city, where they went to learn the reasons of a public unrest that happened on 23 January 2013. They were charged with organizing public disorder and resisting the representatives of the authorities or using violence against them. In late April, the charge of organizing public disorder was replaced by that of plotting mass unrest. On April 9th, the European Court of Human Rights began considering Ilgar Mammadov's application and started communication with Azerbaijan government. Musavat Party Deputy Chairman Arif Hacılı and Güloğlu Aslanlı held a press conference in Musavat Party headquarters in connection with their detention on their way to Crimea and forced return to Baku by Makhachkala police on March 10th. While traveling to the Crimea to observe events closer in this part of Ukraine, Musavat Party deputy chairman were first to get off the Baku-Kiev train and taken to the police office. There were plainclothes police, traffic police, and employees of the Federal Security Service in the police office. Hacılı and Aslanlı claimed they had been subjected to psychological pressure. They were threatened that they would get 5-year prison sentence. Then they were made to pay a fine of 500 manat and demanded to write a statement. The police forced them to sign the administrative protocol. They were said that the situation in Crimea is dire and were advised not to interfere. On March 11th, the Baku Court of Grave Crimes held a hearing on the case of journalist Paris Hashimli and his alleged accomplice Tevekkül Gurbanov. In the course of the hearing, Hashimli's lawyer filed a motion for the return of the memory card seized by MTN officers during the search in Hashimli's house. The judge said the motion would be considered after the documents were announced. Then Hashimli gave testimony. He didn't plead guilty to the charge and said that his statement was written under coercion of the investigator of the Ministry of National Security. Hashimli suggested Tevekkül Gurbanov to go public about what was happening at the university where his son studied in order to solve the problems. On the day of the Hashimli's arrest, Gurbanov called him again and asked how they could meet. The journalist invited him to the office where he worked. Hashimli noted that if Gurbanov really brought any weapon, he would not have met him in the office where 8-9 other colleagues of him worked. In April 13th trial, the journalist's lawyer Behruz Bayramov filed a motion for fingerprint exam to see whether the journalist had any finger marks on the money seized from the Tevekkül Gurbanov's car. The lawyer also told the court that the confiscated guns were made in Russia and that such weapons were under strict control, and he made another motion on appealing to the manufacturer country using gun serial numbers. The judge said the motion will be considered in the next hearing. Then prosecution witnesses Zaur Abdullayev and Osman Raisimov testified. Their testimonies contradict those initially provided to the investigator. Even Zaur Abdullayev was drunk while he was testifying. Note that Bizim Yol newspaper journalist and moderator Az editor-in-chief Paris Hashimli was detained on September 17th by employees of the Ministry of National Security. He is charged under 3 articles of the Azerbaijan Criminal Code. Article 206.3.2, smuggling of firearms on preliminary arrangement by an organized group. Article 228.2.1, illegal purchase, transfer, selling, storage, transportation, and carrying of firearms, their accessories, supplies, and explosives by an organized group. And Article 228.2.2, 34.2, the same acts committed repeatedly. On September 18, Sabah District Court ordered him to serve 2 months pretrial detention, while on November 7, his pretrial detention was extended by 3 months on the decision of the Sabah District Court. On March 12, a strong fire broke out on the second floor of the shopping mall Sahel. Although the firefighters arrived minutes after the fire started, in half an hour it spread to 4 shops. The fire was extinguished in few hours. Owners of the burned shops suffered big losses. On March 12, investigative journalist Khadija Ismayil was once again interrogated as a witness at the Serious Crimes Investigation Department of the Prosecutor General's Office. It was noted in the official release of the Prosecutor General's Office that a criminal case had been opened against Khadija Ismayilova in connection with a document published on her Facebook page on February 17, which is linked to the activity of the Minister of National Security. Criminal investigation has been opened into the fact under the Article 284.2, Disclosure of State Secrets of the Criminal Code. Khadija Ismayilova doesn't accept the charge filed against her. Investigators were mostly interested in her conversation with U.S. Senate representatives in Baku Art Garden when she gave statement. Ismayilova noted that she was reprimanded for holding discussions on education with Americans. Note that Khadija Ismayilova was summoned to the investigation for 5 times from February 18th through 25th. Her personal computer was inspected and private communication were examined. People running small shops in subway passes who can no longer trade in metro under the decision of subway leadership met with the representatives of Baku Executive Power on March 13th. Employees of the Executive Power offered replaces to the affected traders, a Mall, Cashier Market and a new shopping center to be constructed in Narman district. In case of mutual consent, it is promised they would be exempt from 3 months' rent and their bank loans would be paid. Traders are not pleased with this offer because they are afraid of losing their constant customers. Moreover, they have been warned against any protest actions. Note that traders held a protest on March 12th. Some of the participants were detained and fined for manat. On March 14th, Baku Appeal Court denied an appeal made by Anar Mammadli, chairman of the Election Monitoring Center, over extension of his detention period. The appeal court with its rule maintained the decision of the first instance court. Note that Anar Mammadli was detained on December 16, 2013 on charge of running business without registration, tax evasion and abuse of office by influencing election results. The court ordered him to serve 3 months of pretrial detention. Investigation of the case is conducted by the Serious Crimes Investigation Department of the Prosecutor General's Office. On March 6, 2014, Mammadli's pretrial detention term was extended by 3 months. Amnesty International has recognized Mammadli as a prisoner of conscience. Numerous local and international rights groups have called for his release. On March 14, Baku Court on Grave Crimes held a hearing on the case of 7 activists of Nida Civic Movement and member of the free youth organization Ilkin Rustamzadeh. Nida member Bakhtiyar Guliyev's father Samandar Guliyev and his colleague Rashadat Akhundov gave testimony. Samandar Guliyev spoke about the search conducted in his apartment. Guliyev comprehensively described the search and noted that employees of the Ministry of National Security who conducted the search didn't show a court order for the search of the apartment. Then Rashadat Akhundov gave his testimony. He touched upon some points in the indictment bill, telling the court that it was fabricated, called all the charges brought against him, trumped it up. Note that the 7 actors of Nida Civic Movement were arrested in March and April of 2013 on charge of planning to use Molotov cocktails during a civil protest in Baku in March of that year. Some of the youths are also accused of illegal possession of drugs. As for the member of the free youth Ilkin Rustamzadeh, he was arrested on May 17, 2013. First, he was accused of hooliganism, then organizing mass disorders or participating in them. On March 14th, the results of alternative investigation into the explosion in Popular Front Party's headquarters and subsequent demolition of the building were presented in the press center of the Institute for Reporters' Freedom and Safety by the Preventive Journalist Group. PRG was established right after the explosion by journalists, experts, and lawyers due to increase public interest in the incident. Head of the PRG, journalist Afgan Mukhtarlu, pointed out that in October of 2013, Azer Askar rented 2 floors of the building to the APFP, whereas the basement housed the office of hairdresser, storehouse of construction tools, and real estate brokers. On March 3, 2014, PRG inspected the basement, took photos and video recordings of the place, and interviewed the witnesses and other tenants of the building, and came to the decision that most probably the explosion was committed on purpose to make APFP change address once again. The building owner Azer Askar said that the building was demolished by the order of the government bodies, namely by Kemaluddin Haydar, Minister of MES. He added that not long ago, an employee of the Ministry of Emergency Situations warned him about the consequences of renting the office to APFP. APFP leader Ali Karimli said that the report of the PRG proves that explosion was not accidental, but a purposeful provocation against his party. During the rule of Aliyev regime, APFP was moved from its premises for 5 times. By forcibly seizure of apartments and commercial properties, the authorities totally violate the property rights, said Karimli. On March 4th, Narmal District Executive Branch ordered demolition of the building based on a telephone message from the MES. According to lawyer Fuad Aghayev, demolition is implemented in violation of the provision of the Constitution, Property Code and Apartment Code. Note that blow-up happened at about 4 p.m. on March 3rd in the office of APFP. On that day, Nurun Nuruzadeh and Ruslan Nasirli, members of the APFP Youth Committee, were on vigil in APFP office. According to them, they heard 3 explosions with short pauses. They called out the fire brigade, which arrived after 20 minutes and prevented spread of the fire. Later on, one of the police officers in the scene noted that on the day of the incident, surveillance cameras were not working. Interestingly, 2 days before the incident, the guard of the office, Tezaham Ralamli, was detained on the false charge.